Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 20th of November 2018, so welcome everyone, welcome to this Tuesday's morning session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few instruments. As always, before we start looking at that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, now then guys, so let's jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on and talk about is the FTSE 100. Now looking at this chart, basically the FTSE's overall, looking at this daily chart, is not really feeling quite well, let's put it that way. After we had our nice sell-off here in October time, and where it found support near the 6,850 zone, since then it reversed back up here, managed to move higher, managed to move above the psychological 7,000 level, reached the areas near the 7,200, but kind of never was able to break above that and close above that. So you know, from then it kind of declined here, so now we're in a way we're stuck here, maybe some could say even in limbo here, because it's to be honest, it's nowhere. And at the moment it would be difficult to say that either it's going to go lower here back to the lows of October, or actually this is going to be a nice area for the bulls to enter and drive this one higher. So what we're going to take, well, we're going to look into this one from this point. Basically, we're going to keep an eye on some key resistance and support levels, and then of course aim for a break of those areas in order to take a position here and maybe drive this one in that direction. So for example, if this index gets back towards the 7,190 area, or in a way you could put it rounded up towards the 7,200, wait for a nice break here and a close above that area, because this could potentially mean that the index would be making these new higher highs. Of course, since the reversal in October time, so we could start making new higher highs if, of course, this gets broken, the 7,200 level gets broken. This way we could aim for levels like the 7,245 or even slightly above that. So we do have the 7,315. The only thing is that don't forget we do have this long-term upside support line, and this kind of in a way maybe a tentative one, but nevertheless a long one here that was running here since the 11th of February 2016, so quite an important line here this one becomes. So keep your eyes on that one, because if this reverses back up here and we start breaking the 7,200 level, now this could be a nice potential perfect point. Should I probably not use the words like perfect, but a nice good point here for a test, which kind of coincides here. Well, the 7,315 level coincides with this upwards moving support line, this long-term upwards moving support line. So this level here could become quite an interesting area for a test. But again, I'll repeat myself, only if we get a nice pop here above the 7,200. I do understand that we're about 200 pips points away from where we are right now, from that level, of course, but still, it's, to be honest, it's better to be safe than sorry. Now, from the very short-term perspective, and in terms of the downside, you can see that this level here, the 6,985, kind of continues to hold nicely, and it's not allowing the index to close below that. So this is going to be our line here that we're going to be watching for the downside, and a nice good break here below the 6,985 could potentially lead the way towards further levels. Now probably I would probably a little bit correct what I just said here. We would need to see a nice good close below the level, the 6,985. So a nice good close on the daily candle would be something that we would be looking for, and this way we could aim, potentially of course could aim for the levels like 6,870 or even actually the 6,850 area, which was the lowest point of October. So quite an important one to watch here. If of course if this index travels all the way down here, this is where it could potentially stall, and we could see a big battle here between the bulls and the bears over who's going to take control here, because if the bulls take control, we could see something like a double bottom formation here, but to be honest, if the bears kind of take control here, then further declines, further declines could be possible. So for now guys, even though we are here within this very wide range, I would say here between the 6,985 and the 7,200 on the upside, still kind of be very cautious, be very careful. For those who short-term traders, you could in a way look for a possible move here around the 7,070 level. A nice good pop above this could potentially lead the index higher a little bit here, but to be honest, with such a trade here, you would need to have a very tight stop loss. In a way, you could even place your stop loss around here at around the 6,985, and then aim for higher levels, especially towards the 7,200. Okay guys, let's jump into gold, and this precious metal is quite interesting. So last week we saw this one declining, of course, sorry, I do apologize. We need to rephrase that. It was the declining a week before that, but then last week it started recovering. And looking at this daily chart here, we can see that the precious metal is kind of getting held here right now by the 100 EMA here, shown as the green line, and this is where we're going to keep an eye on. Of course, we're going to keep an eye on this 100 EMA, but for better confirmation of the potential upside, let me just quickly jump into a 4-hour chart, guys. That will be as will be a more clear picture here. So this is quite, it's at the moment, it seems like it's building up quite nicely. So this is where we're going to keep an eye on. We're going to keep an eye on the 1225 level, especially for today, because as you can see, it's kind of forming something like a very short-term ascending triangle here, if you of course only connect these points here and look at this little area. So it is kind of forming something like that. So in a way, we could see a nice pop here through the upside. Certainly that's according to all the textbooks, but for those who are more experienced traders, you probably understand that sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes this actually gives us a false breakout here to the downside, kind of moves lower here. So that's why we're going to be very cautious here, and we're not going to react, we're not going to act on it now. But if we start seeing a nice good break here above the 1225 zone, and then of course a nice good pop above the 1226, now this could be a better confirmation for further upside potential, where we're going to aim for levels like the 1236 or even the 1240 zone. So keep your eyes on that one, keep your eyes on these two levels here, the 1225 and 1226. So quite important resistance areas here for now. But on the downside, this is what you could in a way keep an eye on, because even if we're going to get a nice, let's say, break here below this short-term upside support line here, keep an eye on the lows that we saw here yesterday, and that was around the 1217 zone, so something like that. A nice good break here below that area could potentially lead this one back down here towards a test of the 1212 zone, which was marked here by the low of the 31st of October. And if that doesn't hold, well, further declines could be possible again. But for now, just be very cautious here. Certainly the formation that we're seeing here right now could be it's slightly more to the bullish side in a way. So yep, guys, be very careful, be cautious here, and don't jump into this one too early. Wait for this commodity to show you the direction. So and yep, don't try to guess it. Jumping into one very popular in the past few days instrument, which is the Bitcoin. So talk about a nice sell-off here, but let me just quickly jump into a daily on this one. So as you can see, we finally managed to break this this triangle that we had forming here from around the end of August. So it was kind of getting squeezed here, and finally on the 14th of November last week we saw this nice break here to the downside, and as you can see it continues to travel lower, it continues to travel south. So this is where the big question here is, where is going to be the floor for this one. So if we're going to go back into history here a little bit, let me just load up my chart. So if we're going to go back into history now, I've got a level marked here as the 4,480 zone. So just to kind of show you what that level was here, if I go back into history now, this was the high that we saw here around the 2nd of October 2017. So quite an interesting level could be this one, the 4,480 zone. So keep an eye on that one, of course. But if that doesn't hold, of course we could start searching for other potential areas of support. Maybe even the 4,150 zone, something like that could be possible. Or even actually, if this continues to travel further and wipes out the 4,000 level, now keep your eyes on this potential area here of support near the 3,000 zone. So could be an interesting level to watch. So this was the low of the 15th of September 2017. So keep your eyes on that one, of course. Like I said, this could be a nice potential area of support, very strong one, of course. As you can see from that one last year in September, the crypto kind of sharply bounced back to the upside, and since then continued to push higher. So the 3,000 becomes quite an important one to watch, but only, of course, we start wiping out these levels that I just mentioned before, the 4,480, and then of course the 4,000 level. So for now, be very cautious, be very careful. Yep, and let's see how this performs. If suddenly this reverses back up, now for us to get comfortable with the upside, we would need to see a nice good push, maybe around the above the 5,400 level. This could potentially maybe lead the path towards higher levels, but to be honest, we would probably need to see this one traveling back up even higher in order to get comfortable with further upside potential. Jumping into a few pairs now. So GBPJPY is a very interesting one. Looking at this daily chart, as you can see, it continues to decline. Certainly the weaker pound is kind of getting it is noticed, let's put it that way. So currently, let me just quickly jump into a 4-hour chart because it will be probably easier to watch. So currently kind of getting held here by the 144.35 level. This is going to be the one to watch for now, because if this gets broken, and this could potentially open the path towards slightly lower levels like the 143.85, or even lower towards the 143.20 level, which was marked here by the low of the 30th of October. Because at the moment, of course, we're not going to do anything with this one, because even though it is a little bit more to the bearish side, it's currently kind of stuck here within this little formation. Let me just quickly actually show you what I'm talking about here. It is basically showing us an ascending, somewhat like an ascending triangle here. So you can see we've got the lower side here at around 144.35, and this downwards moving resistance line, which is kind of forming that upper side of the ascending this descending triangle. So for now, guys, keep your eyes on this one. Again, even though the textbook says that we could see a drop here further down, still be very cautious. You know that we sometimes get these false breakouts here as well. So for us to, let's say, get comfortable with the upside, we would need to see a nice good pop here above the 145.68 zone, something like that. In a way, you could round it up towards the 70. So 145.70 could be your target here on the upside to watch. If we get a nice pop above this, this could continue pushing further up here, as we do have some good potential areas of resistance. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on, and that's euro dollar. Now this one is a very tricky one at this point, even though we have broken the short-term downside resistance line, still currently getting held here by the 114.55 zone. Certainly looking at this formation that we're seeing here right now is kind of getting hooked here, and we could see further acceleration here to the upside. The only thing is, like I said, be very cautious. We do have some good potential areas here of resistance near the 115 zone. But if you're somewhat more of a longer term trader, in a way you could wait until this would, let's say, break the 115 level, because if this breaks the 115 level, this is quite an important resistance area. Basically, it could open the path towards higher levels like the 115.50 or even the 115.75. So keep your eyes on that one. Certainly further higher levels are possible as well, but we're gonna just go step by step here and see what it wants to do with the 114.55 level first. But as you can see, it's kind of currently slightly struggling here to overcome that. But again, let's say the day is just started, and we could see maybe a follow through here to the upside. But if this suddenly, let's say, drops back down here, back below this downside resistance line, and drops below the 200 EMA here shown on the 4-hour chart, now this could be a bit of a worrying sign, as this could open the path towards the 113.90 level, which was marked here by the lows of yesterday. So the 113.90 could be the one to watch, or even actually this short-term upside support line that has been running here since around the 13th of November could be a target as well. But again, like I said, for this scenario, for this downside scenario, we would need to see a nice good break here below the downside resistance line, this kind of short-term downside resistance line, and also like automatically would place the pair below the 200 EMA as well. So could be, like I said, a nice indication of bearishness, at least for the short term. So for now, be very cautious. Keep your eyes on the 114.55, and of course, like I said, if this reverses back down, keep your eyes on this 200 EMA and this downside resistance line. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching and listening, and I hope you found it useful. And if you want to join me later on in my Traders Tea Time, and that's 14:15 GMT time. So yep, for now guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and see you later. Bye bye.